to Network News, which is produced by and for the students of Bay Path. I'm Molly, and with me I have Asia, Khadijah, and Kayla, and I would like all of you to help me and welcome our very special guest, Ruth Lahti, Dean of School of Education, Psychology, and Humanities at Bay Path University. To start us off, we have Asia with our first question.
Yes. Thank you, Molly, for the introduction. So, Dr. Lahti, I am very aware of the huge successes that you've had at Southern New Hampshire University with helping create the Masters of Fine Arts program in creative writing, which is now the biggest in the country. So really, what helped you decide that Bay Path is the place for you?
Thank you for the question, Asia. So when I came to Bay Path to do my interview, I knew immediately that it was the place that I wanted to be. When I stepped onto campus, I met the individuals of the Bay Path community, and I heard about the university's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, which really aligned with my own values. I have always been interested in creating access to education for folks for whom college may not have been an option in the past. And that was really clear to me that Bay Path is committed to the same things. And every person that I spoke to during my interview process reflected that commitment, reflected that value. And it's a funny story. So when I actually left the interview, I called my husband right away and I said, I don't know if I'm going to get this job or not, but I hope I do. And we are coming down to look at real estate. So we actually had our house picked out here in Longmeadow before I got the job offer. So when I did get the job offer, the first thing I said was, I need it in writing because my realtor needs it for our home sale. So I'm now a proud member of the community of Longmeadow as well. And I love being so close to campus so that I get to be at events with all of you.
Perfect. Well, Khadijah, would you like to add?
Yes, being here now, was this your goal, or did you have other goals in mind where you wanted to be?
Great question. You know, I think one of the most important things about a professional journey is being able to learn constantly and adapt your goals as your learning grows. So when I was in graduate school, I was graduate school working on my PhD in literature just over at UMass. And my thought was that I was going to be a faculty member, that I would be researching and writing about books all of the time and spending my days in the library doing studies. And then I realized in my first faculty position, I was at a small liberal arts college up in New York State. And I was teaching a composition course. You all have had composition, I'm sure, college writing. And we were doing the research essay. And my students at the time were picking their research projects. And I had this light bulb moment when I was working with my students and I saw how many of my students chose to write about their student debt and their feelings around the problem of student debt, the problem of how they would ever repay it. And that signaled to me that I needed to be doing something more within the higher education system,
Yes.
to be at institutions like SNHU, where the priorities were really making education more accessible to a greater number of people. So that's when I, walked away from the first goal of being a faculty member, doing my own research, and I still love doing that stuff, and I love to read. But I was really thinking more about how do I step into a leadership role within higher ed, where I can really help drive that mission of access to education. For me, that's my passion. And what gets me up every morning and excited to come to work.
Yes. Kayla?
I really love that you listen to the students because, student debt really is a big thing. It really stops a lot of people from coming to college.
Yes.
And I know that was your inspiration to really get into this field, but what kind of keeps you going to keep helping students?
Great question. Yeah, what keeps me going? I think about the day in and the day out. You know, my job is a lot of emails and meetings. I probably spend most of my days in one meeting or another on various strategic projects that we're doing and all sorts of fun stuff. But that really isn't what it's about. I think about the students that I talk to and how they inspire me. And I'll give an example. When student issues come my way, they're usually the pretty severe ones, right? Because our faculty and our staff community are just incredible at supporting students where they are and whatever needs they have. So when I get in touch with a student, it's usually a student who's in some form of crisis, whether that's they've been academically dismissed or they've been, there's some kind of extenuating circumstance that they're facing. And, the greatest joy that I have in my job is, you said listening, having a Zoom call or a phone call with a student who is on the verge of giving up on their education and just being able to hear what they're going through and then really take a step back and say, in my leadership role, what impact can I have to change this student's trajectory? How do I, connect them with the right resource, advocate for them, understand that they are not just a student who comes to us as a single student, but they're a student who has family responsibilities, work responsibilities, an identity and a culture that is meaningful to them, that's all a part of their belonging. And when I'm able to cobble together a solution that saves a single student, that is what keeps me going without a doubt. I mean, there were 2 students that, I was able to work solutions out for last week, keep them on their path to graduation. And that for me is a joy because that every student that finishes that graduation line, that impacts generations. It impacts families. So that's the biggest honor right there.
That's amazing.
It's an honor, it really is.
A lot more faculty like you. I know in my last institution, I had struggled with talking to people because they just didn't want to hear me out, or a lot of students I hear struggle with that.
Yeah. People, I think sometimes people can bring their preconceptions about what students need to be. And what I love about BayPath is that we take a look at ourselves and we say, who do we need to be for our students?
Yes.
It's the other way around, and that's at the institutions that I've worked for, that's been one of the most important mindsets that we have. Is we're here to serve you.
Yeah.
You really are.
It's wonderful. Thank
Yeah.
you. Sure, Mom, you would have another question.
Yeah. Well, first I want to say it's very admirable, and we appreciate you, and that is also what keeps us going. So I'm glad we have that in common. But
Thank you.
So, like Asia mentioned, you have been a pioneer in the most successful creative writing programs. So, do you have any grand plans yet for BayPath? Are you still kind of getting a lay of the land?
Yeah. Well, my school in particular has a lot of exciting programs. We have the education suite of programs that is really getting attention both at the state level and at the national level right now for our early literacy initiatives. And one of the reasons I'm so excited about this, and I do a lot of traveling around to school districts to talk about this, early literacy is one of the most important civil rights that we can identify right now as a society. When our young people learn to read, that is what opens the doors. And right now, post-pandemic, we're in a place where we've seen some of those reading levels dip back down into some levels from the 1970s. So we have a lot of work to do. And the education team, led by Dr. Ellen Rustico, is just a groundbreaking program. It was one of only 3 schools to be recognized in Massachusetts by the National Council for Teacher Quality as getting an A in our teacher preparation for reading. So I'm really, really proud and excited about that. So we're going to continue to spread the good news about the education programs, but psychology and humanities, I'm a book nerd, so of course the humanities are near and dear to my heart. And we're talking about, how do we really think about promoting the skills like we're employing right here: communication, creativity, collaboration. How are we promoting what people are calling human skills and helping employers see that these are the kinds of lifelong skills that make the best employees? So I applaud all of you for being here today, because you're demonstrating the kinds of skills that are very hard to develop and that are incredibly relevant to the job market. So I'm all about repositioning the humanities and psychology and our school as a whole as the most workforce relevant school, which, I love our other schools as well, but I'll have a bit of a bias when it comes to promoting the SEF school. Yeah.
Of course. Well, as a psychology and writing major, I, for one, am very excited to have you here.
Yes.
So, at this time, does anyone have any lingering thoughts, any questions?
Oh, yes, I do. Do you have like a specific quote in mind for people to be strong in life and to keep going?
Yeah, I don't have a quote, but it's more of a story. I was fortunate to have a leadership seminar once with the very first female Navy pilot. And Carrie Lorenz, I think was her name. I might got that wrong, so don't, just look up first Navy female pilot. She was incredible, and she has a book called Fearless Leadership. And one of the things that she shared with us that I was struck by and that I've really tried to live by is do something every week that scares you. Which, that may sound like, why would I ever do such a thing, right? But what I learned was if there were conversations that I was putting off, or rooms that I was afraid to enter, or, opportunities where I was nervous to raise my hand, that mindset has helped me refocus and say, okay, that's what I have to do first. If I'm scared of it, there's a reason, and I need to stretch myself and continue to grow. So pick those things that scare you, believe in yourself, and go for them. I really, really, really have loved living life through that lens. Great question. Thank you, Khadijah.
You're welcome. Kayla, do you have any questions?
Yes, my question is more so, how do you like campus? Do you like the cafe? Do you like the dining hall? Do you just like the buildings?
Yes. Oh, Bay Path, I think, has the most, I really do. I think it has the most beautiful campus that I've ever seen. The historic houses, the beautiful landscape. I absolutely love the Starbucks. I'm a frequent flyer at the Starbucks. And I love it too because that space around the cafe is such a nice community space. And I see people sitting and studying and meeting and talking. I'd love to see more people playing pool, though. Does anyone ever play pool?
Later at night.
I'm a frequenter of the pool
Okay,
table, actually.
okay. I was gonna say, yeah, so later at night.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll have to stop by sometime and play pool because that's one of my favorite pastimes as well. I've developed some good pool skills, but it's a really nice, welcoming place. So I think that probably is my favorite. I will also say, being the bookworm that I am, I love Hatch Library. I love
work
Hatch
there.
Library.
It's amazing there.
Yeah, and the space is beautiful. They've got the beautiful rooms and the chairs, those awesome chairs for studying in. And the staff is so fantastic. over there. They're incredible. So yes, Hatch Library, and I'm going to echo what I heard Dean Testori say in the awakening that we had, the awakening ceremony. Cross the street and get over to the library, folks. It is the place to be. It's awesome. So yeah, but I love campus. It's so fun.
Great.
What
Well,
else?
Asia?
Well, thank you so much for being here with us today, Dr. Lahti.
Yes, my
And for helping us
pleasure.
improve BPATH University, because it's really appreciated. And thank you for joining us on Network News, our live.